Hmm. I'm ready to make a lot of money, fam. Everybody's watching. We've been covering the crypto task force for a while now, same as we covered the FOMCs and anything important. Guys, what a day. What a beautiful day. All I gotta say. Let's go ahead and let YouTube do its work. Welcome. Man, I'm just happy, bro. Not only happy, but grateful, excited, Many of us right now, we're feeling like it paid off. How many times? How many times, fam? How many times? But at the end, 265 XRP, we're about to witness one more crypto task force where BlackRock is going to be speaking, Fidelity is going to be speaking, and the SEC chairman, Paul Atkins, will be speaking. You don't go anywhere. We'll be covering everything with you, for you, right here, Oscar Ramos Live. There's a question in the chat right now. When $3 XRP? You want to really know what I think about that question? I don't care. I don't care when $3 XRP. It's going to happen. It's not really something that keeps me up at night. It's going to happen. Bitcoiners attack us viciously because they knew that 100,000 XRP was coming. And now they all are happy, right? Because it's not only 100,000 XRP, it's more than 100,000 XRP. Then why can't we have such determination? XRP $3 is one of the easiest price predictions ever. Do not let anyone fool you otherwise. I'm not rushing when I tell you that I need more XRP. And look, we just passed USDT Tether again. Do it for XRP. Smash the like button immediately right now to my 500 early people joining right now. Welcome. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Alerts are on right now. Alerts are on. So we'll see you guys, all the new subscribers. On BTCC, oh, we're cooking, baby. We are cooking. First link down below. Join up. Sign up right now on BTCC. Start trading. Told you guys, I'm not always right. In fact, most of the times I'm wrong because I dare to give my opinion to the world, where if you miss one, you are crucified. I don't care. I like to fail forward, right? Miss, keep going. Welcome to all my awesome moderators, to all those people in blue. How you guys doing? Always happy to see you guys. XRP 260, everybody. We need everyone here, guys. This is gonna get so spicy. Today is a good day to make money. Today is a good day to make money, guys. Where are the glasses at? My glasses are right here, brother. My glasses are right here, ready, Freddy, guys. Ready, Freddy. Welcome to another live. Yesterday we had a Sunday Night Live. Yesterday, XRP price 2.38. Yesterday. And I get comments saying, why do you get so excited? The price is not even 250, you clown. Haters gonna hate, right? Do I lose some sleep because of them? Of course not. But when you ask yourself, Why do people don't make money with XRP? Because they're shot here. They don't get it. They don't get it. They don't get it. But we get it. And if you're here, guys, long term, baby. Long term, guys. Don't let anybody fool you around, right? The boring is when you and I wanna make sure that we eat up. John 316 in the house. Welcome, buddy. It's crazy what we see, but it's true. Phil, welcome, buddy. Happy to see you. That's nice to have you, bro. Welcome. What's up, War? Awesome to have you, man. God bless. God bless. People are coming. People are watching. People are returning, right? Well, I just want to tell you guys, to all those people who are returning, right, after so long, we never left. In fact, we added more XRP, and we're about to watch, in less than 30 minutes, we're about to watch what I will say is going to be a very good, interesting crypto task force roundtable by the Securities Exchange Commission, right? And you and I know, guys, like, we're going to win. I don't care if the price of XRP dives all the way to 220. Better for me. I can buy cheaper XRP. You feel me? Oscar, but you just tell me that it's exploding and now it's down to 250 or 240. What kind of prediction is that? It is a prediction that nobody knows what in the world is going to happen. Earlier today, Donald J. Trump was speaking. I was watching while I was eating. I thought about going live, but I'm like, you also have a life, Oscar. Enjoy your life. I mean, I cannot multitask like that, you know? I got to enjoy my breakfast like you guys. And I was watching, I was eating, and he had the health, Secretary Kennedy. And they were talking, and obviously all questions about China and the tar, the plane, all of that, right? The guy is everywhere, right? And it's going to be good, man. The United States is playing a long game, a very smart game, guys. And I'm bullish. Really, really bullish. It's going to happen 3, 5, 10, 20. Keep buying the dip. What's up, Pablo? Welcome to the 1,000 people joining very, very, very quickly. Smart people. Really, really smart people coming in. The question is, $3 XRP happening in May, June, Q3, or not happening ever again, sell XRP? Those are for my haters, because I love my haters. They come. They still come. They I don't know. They just like to see this phrase. Who knows, right? But it is what it is, guys. Let everybody know that we're live. Cutting prescriptions, correct. Justin BB, yes. Historic what Donald Trump did earlier today, right? I think there's gonna be a lot of people happy here in the United States. Medicine, right? Healthcare, prescriptions, guys. You want to have a healthy society. I mean, that's super important, right? So, very nice day. It's a good early morning. What I can say, it's a good early Monday morning, period, right? It's good. It's good. Dangerous Dave in the house, Ghost in the house, Chipper in the house. I got some big people in the house coming in. To all my new viewers and subscribers, those blue, moderators, they're legends. They're big traders, guys. They really know what they're doing. Some of them, most of them, I have them on my Discord for free because I just want to have great people right next to me. I want to learn from them. They're super nice, super smart. So shout out to all of you guys. Just keep doing you, right? Because we're going to make some really great plays. And right now, I got some positions in. I got some cash on this side, guys. Oh, baby. Giovanni, what's up, bro? Ronald, good to see you guys. Good to see you. So I hope everybody is ready and excited for what's to come. I'm really ready to listen to Fidelity. Let me show you. So we're going to have the keynote address today by Paul Atkins, right? This is happening in about 20 minutes. We'll have the Chief of Staff, Richard. Then we'll have Paul Atkins speaking. Then after that, Carolyn Crenshaw. Then Mark Cueta. Then Commissioner Pierce. And then we're going to have Fidelity, Nasdaq, Invesco. So UAM. What is that? Asset under management. AUM. My bad. I said it. I said it. Wrong. AUM. Asset under management. So AUMs. All AUMs. Right. I'm gonna type it here. AUMs. Asset under management, which are the billionaires and the trillionaires, basically. So there's BlackRock. They're going to be speaking, right? Apollo Management, BTCC, Franklin, right? Most of them have a XRP ETF spot ready. We're just missing BlackRock, right? Now, obviously, I'm not expecting they mention XRP, HBAR, or whatever, or Ondo, but if they do, oh my, that's why I'm watching, because I just want to know how powerful it could be if someone just slips it like for some reason. I'll be really, really good. Thanks, Oscar. BTCC up to 400, and let's go, man. Jonathan, 400%. My man, good job. I want to show you something, guys, to all my people who are buying the good. Look at this. I got a 72,000 plus position on an XRP 100X on BTCC demo trading. Do it, guys. First link down below, or first link on the top of the chat. Sign up. Lower trading fees. You want low trading fees when you're buying crypto. Well, that's what I got for you guys. So we're cooking, demo, live. We're entering, selling, position, and moving, right? I tell my trades to all my Discord people. That's why prices are going up. What's up, Ree? Nice to have you, buddy. Welcome. You're in HBO? Yes, I am. They never reach out to me for permission, and I'm never gonna be telling them anything, of course. But yeah, they use a few pieces from back in 2022 when I was, much younger, and this face was a little bit different. But that comes with age, it happens. But you know what also happens? Don't you know? Pump it up. You got to pump it up. Come on, XRP 261. Send it. BTC is stopping a little bit too. Solana also 175. Well done, Solana. Well done. So today I'm just here with you guys to give you the great news that we are, I think, waking up to the price that XRP should be at, And these are the great news right now. We just passed Tether. We are 2x away from Ethereum, guys. Put in the chat right now. Are we passing Ethereum? Yes or no? I want to see how many no's. I want to see how many yeses. Let's see. Are we passing 300 billion in market cap? Because right now we have 150. We are 2x away. Yes, yes, no, 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 yes, 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 and many yeses. See? Welcome, Jack. I think a lot of people are saying yes. XRP flips USDT to become the third largest cryptocurrency by market cap. Yep. Ark 3 hours ago is saying XRP is going to teleport to $10. You've been warned. Now, that is much crazier, of course. But $10 XRP, it's not impossible. We can do it. But it's going to take a little bit longer to get it, A little bit longer to get it. So good, bro. This is Larry Fink.
Ties
They know what's coming, guys. They know what's coming. Let's go to the 15-minute chart right now and see much closer in the micro. Let's get XRP price right here. Plus, which are the ones that are doing the best? Oh, wow. XRP 10% is actually the biggest one in my on my watch list here on TradingView. Welcome, and thanks so much for another super chat. Beautiful mail. Welcome. Thanks so much for having us. Really nice. For those that don't know, it was number 2 in the past. Yes, Chipper. Thank you for letting everybody know that. Storm Chaser says yes, of course. Watching Nice American Oak Whiskey in England. What's up, England? I have great friends in England too. I just met him, and I saw some great friends in Dubai, right, from England. Love him. So easy to spot them with the accent, right? So very beautiful people. Hey, Mark, what's up, buddy? Welcome. Larry Fink doesn't want people to own their keys. Always keep your keys, not your on exchange. Olivia, you're super right. So we're gonna have a bunch of UAMs, asset under management, and the future of tokenizations as well. Robinhood, look, Robinhood is gonna be there too. So it's gonna be a long one, right? We'll see how long I can last. I'm not putting pressure on myself right here. I just want us to have a good time and to listen and to relax and to see some of the reactions there. Right? See, I'm not really putting pressure on myself. I just want us to come together. I just want us to be excited. That's it. That's all it is. Hey, Oscar, will XRP dump to 240, 250 today? I don't know, Jason. There's a chance, of course. I mean, XRP could always go down like it did right here. It went to 265. This was at 8 a.m. today. And then it went all the way down to 252 at, what was it? At 10 a.m., right? Why? Well, because people wake up. I said it in my video earlier today. People want to make money. Some people bought XRP at 50 cents, guys. They just did 5x. 5x. They bought at 50 cents, assuming that they didn't sell at 3, and they sold right now. They did 5x. Imagine they bought $50,000 worth of XRP. So they right now have a position of $250,000. Would you take some profits at $250,000 if you see it right there on your screen? $250,000 would you sell? Well, if you don't have to, I wouldn't. I will keep holding because it's going to go much higher. All right. Planets in the house. Dangerous Dave. Secretary. We got some big people here. Gosh. All the good ones. Some people are saying, no, I will hold. Good morning, Oscar, and all the good fam. Of course, man. Sounds like Oscar's holdings. Shh. Keep it quiet, David. Keep it quiet. They don't gotta know. They don't gotta know. Let's just say that I've been doing a lot of work. I've been putting a lot of sweat equity to buy my XRP, and that's it, man. I mean, I'm rejoiced, bro. I'm rejoiced. Cheers in one hand and diamonds in the other hand. Let's go. Drinking the blood on the streets because, I'm always ready for some corrections, That's how we eat. We eat the blood on the streets. Right now, I'm just chilling with you. I'm just like, amazing, great news. Where do we really buy when all the hate comes? When all hell, fury, and flames come? When people are saying XRP is going to go all the way to 0, that's when I eat. That's where I like to put my fork, my knife, get my A1 sauce, get a medium rare steak, and go for it. That's it. Right now, everybody's buying. We're chilling. You're speaking to me. I bought 100,000 XRP at 59. Hey, let's go, bro. Lynn, kudos to you. Kudos to you. Love to see that. Life in crypto is very easy, man. For adults, honestly. We also have a bunch of kiddos that don't have the emotional stamina that we have adults, of course. I'm 31, guys. I'm old. I'm the oldest here. You guys are a bunch of youngsters, beautiful people. I'm the oldest. I'm momming. It's over for me, right? But you guys have a lot of hope. I believe in you guys. Oh, I love it, bro. Yeah, and here we come. All my veterans. There you go. So powerful. Guys, we're going to make it. Buy ISO 222. Don't regret it. It's true. I've been doing that. I bought Cardano, bought HBAR, Ondo 2. Yes, man, completely. I thought you were 45. Oh, my. 45. Oh, wow. Gotta go and sleep more, 10 more minutes. To my 1,700 people here watching. What's up, fam? Welcome. 10 more minutes. Let's go. Future crypto XRP millionaires. I know, right? 87. Kudos to you, Los Running. Really nice to have you. Really nice to have you. XLM, let's go. My son bought 1,600 XRP from his confirmation money when he was 15, 2 years ago. Oh, well, he's doing really well. I'm happy for them. Good for you, the family. That's nice. If you're enjoying this conversation, guys, we're barely starting. Smash the like button right now. Consider subscribing to the channel and turn on those notification bells. We sell like it is. And I'll be honest with you guys. The making crypto great again is about to begin. This is not even it. This is not even it. Making crypto great again, it's barely coming. I'm blessed that I'm going to be attending Bitcoin Vegas in 2 weeks or so. We'll be seeing JD. We'll be seeing the Trumps. There's XRP Vegas also, if I'm not mistaken, too. So there's like a bunch of great events coming that I'll be learning a lot and bringing you more updates and bringing you more, of what's going on. That's what I do for you guys, right? I invest in myself so you get all the good info. Because it makes a difference if I'm investing and putting more knowledge here. I went to Singapore, I went to Dubai now, and if I'm not buying crypto at this time, I'm just wasting my time. I'm doing myself a disservice. If I'm buying stocks or bonds or gold or you want to make money, you really, 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 really want to make a lot of money, well, buy into the greatest technology coming in. That is digital assets. So don't be afraid. Don't be afraid. It's coming, guys. It's true. I was like, all XRP holders be like, right? That's us right now. It wasn't like this. It wasn't like this, just to give you an idea. Because I like to be transparent and show you exactly what it is. I got to go all the way back. I posted this. Let me go. Well, this was, can I go to the copy link? Let me open this. Check this out. This was March 27th. Got a lot of views. Got a lot of people. Guys, we were dying on March 27th. And what did I post? Buy the dip with what? It was bad, bro. Bad, good. Bad, good. We had one. We have another one where people are like, dude, we are honestly dying here. Like, this is so bad, right? But, and then here's another one, right? Like, first time, like we're getting, that's another one. Look at this. The completely opposite, right? The completely opposite, right? As to what we're seeing today with this picture right here. So the goal for a lot of people is when you see this, that we're all trying basically to hold on together, right? The blood on the streets. You go in, you dollar cost average with the money that you can afford losing, not financial advice. You do what's best for you, right? You don't look at the charts for a while. You buy for spot. You hold the line. And one day it's going to be like this. And you're going to feel so great. There it is. 5 minutes to go. And perfect. Roundtable is about to begin. Hey, guys, it's going to be good. There you go. Crypto Task Force Roundtable. Perfect. You guys are ready. We'll keep you in the know every step of the way. Every step of the way. We're not leaving you. Plus, I got a surprise here. Mr. Trump, the president, helping us pump the chart a little bit more. Why not? I got you, fam. I got you. All you need, Oscar Ramos channel. You know it. A lot of retail panicked and sold. It's true, Dangers. That's what it is. That's what it is. When Crow 250, ooh, CRO $1, fam. I'm holding the line. In less than 5 minutes, we're going to go ahead and listen to this webcast. All these great people will be speaking. And if any questions or so, I'll be replying. I want to be respectful, and I'll be muting myself just so we can listen closely and clearly. And once that's done, we'll go ahead and continue the chat. But I want to just welcome everybody. Links, of course, in the chat, and the poll will stay alive too to my 2,000 people just joining in. If you're bullish, guys, well, I think you should be looking into trading for sure. I think it's the time. The links are down there if you want to start putting in some pretty nice positions. And I'll be there because there's going to be a lot of, reactions from a lot of the public. Let's go ahead and take a look at Watch a Guru here. 2 hours ago right now. So yes, we'll be getting more as the event starts right here. As the event starts, yeah, get ready for more. Oscar, will this be a nothing burger? Could it be? Of course. I mean, who knows? This is not going to be XRP news. These are going to be SEC and tokenization, which I love. All right. It's starting now. In 5 minutes. Perfect. Still, we don't have any audio, so we're going to be waiting a little bit longer. Not bad, not bad. Perfect. All right. Go ahead and refresh this just so we know that. Perfect. All right. There you go, guys. We should be able to watch and listen with no problem. There it is. Oh, Brett. Oh, holding the line on Brett, bro. I love it. It's going to be another good one for me to cash in once the time comes, God bless. Happy to have you, buddy. Welcome back. We're streaming for the XRP family score. Always. My man Oscar. XRP is over 11%. It's not going to a nothing burger. Right now, it is the biggest one right now that is running on my watch list. Obviously, overshadowed by meme coin Caspa is also doing really nice. They're H bar, guys. I've seen some of you H bar. Look at that. 10% on H bar, 10% on XRP. That's so good. Jasmine, I got a position on Jasmine, so I'm pretty happy for it. It's always good to see it. All right. Still, they haven't activated the audio right there, but it's about 1 minute to go. Soon it's going to start, guys, so get ready. Glasses on, glasses on. Why not? And see what XRP does, See what XRP does. We'll be nice and ready for it. How about XRP market cap versus Tether? It passed it. 150 billion. So it's always good to see that. Let's go right here. Coin market cap, 151 billion to 149 billion. So right now XRP is way, higher than Tether and just 2x away from Ethereum. That's so good. And there it is, guys. 1 p.m. Eastern time. Welcome to everybody. Let us know in the comments. You can vote, relax, enjoy. Let's see what the price of XRP does. And we're going to be watching live the Tokenization Crypto Task Force Roundtable by the Securities Exchange Commission, where Fidelity, Franklin, BlackRock, Robinhood are going to be speaking. And honestly, I just really want to listen. I want to welcome everybody. I think it's a great time to learn, to get it plugged in with what the SEC is cooking. The fact that they're having these roundtables is great. Just to know the last administration, they wouldn't do anything like this. Now they are doing this. So this is amazing. Should be starting anytime now. It's Oscar's fault. My family holds a little of everything. What's up, Angel? Nice to have you, buddy. Welcome. Laser focus. Nice. CPI tomorrow. Ooh, yes, Philip. Philip, thank you. Yeah, it's true. CPI tomorrow. Forgot about that. I mean, so many things going our ways. Ooh, CPI. Come on, man. We need a lower core CPI, headline CPI. We get lower, guys. Who are we cooking? We absolutely cooking. It's true. It's true. It's true. It's true. All right. I only have 300 XRP. Is that enough? I want to get at least 1,000 XRP. Buy as much as you can, right? I mean, buy what you want. Nobody here is gonna be pressuring you to get more. Do what you want. Absolutely. Philippines in the house. What's up, San? Juan. Nice to have you. Should be starting any moment now. One that I think a lot of people have been waiting for, and I just like it. There it is.
Good afternoon. Welcome to the fourth roundtable in the SEC's spring sprint toward crypto clarity, entitled Tokenization, Moving Assets on-Chain, where TradFi and DeFi meet. As with our custody roundtable a couple of weeks ago, today's roundtable has two separate panels. The first will take on the question of how tokenization can transform our traditional financial markets, and the second will explore issues including operational risk, privacy, and the role of intermediaries in a tokenized financial system. The next step in the evolution of our markets will see equities, bonds, and other assets move on-chain, providing issuers and market participants with increased flexibility in how they access and use these assets. As an Exchange Act lawyer, I find this application of distributed ledger technology particularly exciting, and I'm looking forward to hearing our panelists tackle the many interesting legal and compliance questions we'll need to address to make this next step possible. I'd like to remind everyone that this event is being streamed live and is being covered by multiple media outlets. Accordingly, please be aware that all remarks by Commission officials, participants, and members of our audience will be on the record. In addition, please remember that the participants in today's roundtable speak on their own behalf and that their views do not necessarily reflect the views of the Commission, the Commissioners, or members of the Commission staff. Before we give the floor to our two panels, we're honored once again to hear remarks from Chairman Atkins and his fellow commissioners. Chairman Atkins will open today's event with a keynote address in which he will set out his thoughts on how the Commission could implement a workable regulatory framework in this space. Following the Chairman's remarks, we will hear from Commissioner Crenshaw, Commissioner Ueda, and Commissioner Peirce. Mr. Chairman.
Well, good afternoon. Thank you, Richard, for opening us up here. And I'm delighted to speak to this distinguished group and to you all in the audience and online. And I really thank you all very much for your taking your own time to devote to this important topic. Look forward to learning a lot from this. So the topic of this afternoon's discussion is timely as securities are increasingly migrating from traditional or off-chain databases to blockchain-based or on-chain ledger systems. This movement of securities from off-chain to on-chain systems is akin to the transition of audio recordings from I'm maybe one of the only few here in the room who remember this, from analog vinyl records and even older ones that can break, to cassette tapes, and then finally to digital software decades ago. The ability to easily encode audio in a digital file format, which could readily be transferred, modified, and stored, unlocked tremendous innovation within the music industry. Audio was freed from its boundaries as a static, fixed format creation. It suddenly was compatible and interoperable across a wide range of devices and applications. It could be combined, broken apart, and programmed to form entirely new products. This also led to the development of novel hardware devices and streaming content business models, greatly benefiting consumers in the American economy. So just as the shift to digital audio revolutionized the music industry, the migration to on-chain securities has the potential to remodel aspects of the securities market by enabling entirely new methods of issuing, trading, owning, and using securities. For example, on-chain securities can utilize smart contracts to transparently distribute dividends to shareholders on regular cadence. Tokenization can also enhance capital formation by transforming relatively illiquid assets into liquid investment opportunities. Blockchain technology holds the promise to allow for a broad swath of novel use cases for securities, fostering new kinds of market activities that many of the Commission's legacy rules and regulations don't even contemplate today. In order for the United States to be the crypto capital of the planet, as envisioned by President Trump, the Commission must keep pace with innovation and consider whether regulatory changes are needed to accommodate on-chain securities and other types of crypto assets. Rules and regulations designed for off-chain securities may be incompatible with or unnecessary for on-chain assets and actually then stifle the growth of blockchain technology. A key priority of my chairmanship will be to develop a rational regulatory framework for crypto asset markets that establishes clear rules of the road for issuance, custody, and trading of crypto assets while continuing to discourage bad actors from violating the law. Clear rules of the road are necessary for investor protection against fraud, not the least to help them identify scams that do not comport with the law. It is a new day at the SEC. Policymaking will no longer result from ad hoc enforcement actions. Instead, the Commission will utilize its existing rulemaking, interpretative, and exemptive authorities to set fit-for-purpose standards for market participants. The Commission's enforcement approach will return to Congress's original intent, which is to police violations of these established obligations, particularly as they relate to fraud and manipulation. This undertaking requires coordination across multiple offices and divisions within the Commission, which is why I'm pleased that Commissioners Ueda and Peirce have worked together to establish the Crypto Task Force. For too long, the Commission has been plagued by policy-making silos within the Commission. The Crypto Task Force exemplifies how our policy divisions can come together to expeditiously provide long-needed clarity and certainty to the American public. Now, I mentioned three areas of focus for crypto asset policy: issuance, custody, and training. So first, with respect to issuance, I intend for the Commission to establish clear and sensible guidelines for distributions of crypto assets that are securities or are subject to an investment contract. Only 4 crypto asset issuers have conducted registered offerings and offerings pursuant to Reg A. Issuers have largely avoided these types of offerings, in part due to challenges in satisfying the associated disclosure requirements. In cases where the issuer does not intend to distribute ordinary securities, such as stock, bonds, or notes, issuers also struggle to determine whether a crypto asset constitutes a security or is subject to an investment contract. In the past few years, the SEC first pursued what I call the head in the sand approach, perhaps hoping that crypto might just go away. Then it pivoted and pursued a shoot first and ask questions later approach of regulation through enforcement. It claimed that it was willing to talk to prospective registrants, just come in and to visit, but this proved ephemeral at best and more misleading, I think, because the SEC made no necessary accommodations to registration forms for the new technology. For example, Form S-1 continues to require detailed information regarding executive compensation and the use of proceeds, which may not be relevant or material for investment decisions in crypto assets. While the SEC has previously adapted its forms for offerings of asset-backed securities and by real estate investment trusts, it has not done so far for crypto assets, despite increased investor interests in this space over the last several years. We cannot encourage innovation by trying to fit a square peg into a round hole. I am committed to the Commission's charting a new course. The Commission staff recently issued a staff statement on disclosure obligations for certain registrations and offerings. The staff also clarified the view that certain distributions in crypto assets do not implicate the federal securities laws, and I expect the staff to continue to provide clarifications at my direction with regard to other types of distributions and assets. However, existing registration exemptions and safe harbors may not be entirely fit for purpose for certain types of crypto asset offerings. I view this construct of staff pronouncements as extremely temporary. Commission action is both vital and necessary. In the meantime, I've asked the Commission staff to consider whether additional guidance, registration exemptions, and safe harbors are needed to create pathways for crypto asset issuances within the United States. I believe that the Commission has broad discretion under the Securities Acts to accommodate the crypto industry, and I intend to get it done. Second, with respect to custody, I support providing registrants with greater optionality in determining how to custody crypto assets. Commission staff recently removed a significant impediment for companies seeking to provide crypto asset custodial services by rescinding Staff Accounting Bulletin number 121. That pronouncement was a grave error. The staff had no place to act so broadly in place of Commission action and without notice and comment rulemaking. The action created needless confusion and went far beyond the jurisdiction of the SEC in its outward workings and effects. However, the SEC can do much more to enhance competition in the market for legally compliant custodial services than merely by getting rid of SAB 121. It's important to provide clarity on the types of custodians that qualify as a qualified custodian under the Advisors Act and the Investment Company Act, as well as reasonable exemptions from the qualified custody requirements to accommodate certain common practices within the crypto asset markets. Many advisors and funds have access to self-custodial solutions that incorporate more advanced technology to safeguard crypto assets as compared to some of the custodians in the marketplace today. Consequently, the custody rules may need to be updated to allow advisors and funds to engage in self-custody under certain circumstances. Additionally, it may be necessary to repeal and replace the special purpose broker-dealer framework with a more rational regime. Only 2 special purpose broker-dealers are in operation today due to the clearly significant limitations that are imposed on these entities. Broker-dealers are not and never were restricted from acting as a custodian for non-security crypto assets or crypto asset securities, but commission action may be needed to clarify the application of the customer protection and net capital rules to this activity. So third, with respect to trading, I am in favor of allowing registrants to trade a broader variety of products on their platforms and in response to market demand, activities which previous commissions had prevented. For example, some broker-dealers seek to go to market with a super app that offers trading in securities and non-securities and other financial securities all under one roof. Nothing in the federal securities laws prohibits registered broker-dealers with an alternative trading system from facilitating trading in non-securities including via pairs trading between securities and non-securities. However, I've asked the staff to help us devise ways to modernize the ATS regulatory regime to better accommodate crypto assets. Additionally, I've asked the staff to explore whether further guidance or rulemaking may be helpful for enabling the listing and trading of crypto assets on a national securities exchange. While the Commission and its staff work to develop a comprehensive regulatory framework for crypto assets, securities markets participants should not be compelled to go offshore to innovate with blockchain technology. I would like to explore whether conditional exemptive relief would be appropriate for registrants and non-registrants that seek to bring new products and services to market that might not otherwise be compatible with current Commission rules and regulations. So I'm eager to coordinate with colleagues in President Trump's administration and in Congress to make the United States the best place in the world to participate in crypto asset markets. So thank you all for your attention, and I look forward to the discussions to follow, and I really look forward to ideas that may come from you participants here. Thank you very much.
That was the chair of the SEC keynote. We continue with more commissioners, SEC commissioners. Welcome, everybody.
Good morning, afternoon, whatever it is. Never sure these days. Today's topic is very broad, perhaps the broadest tackled so far by these crypto task force roundtables. Tokenization. I understand that much of the discussion will focus on potential regulatory efforts to facilitate tokenization. This idea brings to mind a famous line from the movie Field of Dreams. If you build it, they will come. As you may remember, this is a movie starring Kevin Costner as Ray Kinsella, a farmer who was inspired by a mysterious voice to plow under his cornfield and build a baseball diamond, taking it on faith that great things will follow. I see a parallel to the current enthusiasm around tokenization. Blockchain technology has been around for a long time. And although some limited use cases have recently been introduced, it has not been widely adopted for issuance and trading of registered securities. There's a view that if we build, or more accurately rebuild, the financial system to accommodate blockchain, they, all manner of market participants, will come to embrace the tokenized securities. Investors will benefit from increased participation and choice, and markets will flourish from blockchain-derived improvements. To this, I would first ask today, what exactly are we trying to build? What is tokenization? It's a term that, even limited to the SEC space, eludes a straightforward definition. Does tokenization mean issuing a security directly on a blockchain? Or does it refer to creating a digital representation of a security on a blockchain? This may seem a subtle distinction, but it likely carries significant consequences from a regulatory perspective. Beyond issuance, does or should tokenization encompass downstream distribution, trading, clearing, and settlement? In other words, would the entire securities life cycle move on-chain or only part of it? However we might try to answer these definitional questions, it's clear that a tokenized financial system is unlike anything we've seen before. It's not something known or understood like the baseball field Ray Kinsella built. The vision many espouse seems to be a fully tokenized system where any security, including high-volume liquid products like Fortune 500 stocks, can be issued, traded, cleared, and settled on the blockchain. Is that even technologically possible? If we are talking about public permissionless blockchains, the answer, at least as we sit here today, seems to be no. The transaction volume limitations and other scalability problems are well understood. The whole concept of public permissionless blockchains, which were designed to provide trust without the need for government oversight, seems an awkward vehicle for something as complex and statutorily regulated as the securities markets. If we're talking about private or permissioned blockchains, does that improve the potential for scalability? If it does, is this qualitatively different from other types of database technologies already in widespread use? Does it warrant any regulatory adjustments? No one seems to disagree that the SEC should remain a tech-neutral regulator. So why is it our place to assess particular forms of blockchains as candidate for industry adoption? Why would we focus on blockchain in particular over other types of distributed ledger technologies? Regulatory efforts to facilitate adoption of blockchain, let alone specific forms of it, seems a bit like the government picking winners and losers. And we seem to be doing so before the technology has even demonstrated as fit for purpose. Moving on from the questions around what we are trying to build, why are we trying to build it? Proponents argue tokenization can speed up the settlement of trades and make markets more efficient. Instead of our current settlement cycle of T+1, tokenization could potentially move us to an instant settlement of T+0. There's also an argument that instant settlement could replace counterparty risks because the trades would be pre-funded. But the settlement cycle, while shorter than it used to be, is perhaps a design feature, not a bug. The intentional delay built in between trade execution and settlement provides for core market functionalities and protection mechanisms. For example, the settlement cycle facilitates netting. Roughly speaking, netting allows counterparties to settle a day's worth of trades on a net basis rather than trade by trade. The sophisticated multilateral netting that occurs in our national clearance and settlement system drastically reduces the volume of trades requiring final settlement. On average, 98% of trade obligations are eliminated through netting. This allows the current system to handle tremendous volume. It's a key reason why our markets withstood sustained record-breaking trade volume in recent weeks without major failures. Netting also facilitates liquidity. Because the vast majority of trades are netted and don't require settlement, they don't require an exchange of money. If A sells to B, B sells to C, and C sells to A, those trades are paired off and eliminated. A, B, and C can each retain their capital, as compared to a bilateral instant settlement over a blockchain, where each would have to give up its cash for at least some period of time. Another important consideration is that instant settlement would generally disfavor retail investors, many of whom currently rely on the ability to submit payment after placing orders. We must also remember that critical compliance activities take place during the settlement cycle. These include checks designed to identify and prevent fraud and cybercrime. When red flags go up, the ability to pause a transaction and investigate is essential for investor protection and broader concerns like national security and counterterrorism. For these reasons and others, it is not at all clear that shortening the existing settlement cycle in this way is desirable or feasible. Regulators and major market participants here and abroad have persuasively argued otherwise. I think it's our statutory obligation as a regulator to exercise extreme caution with potential changes of this scale, which historically have been undertaken only to address true market crises. While there are certainly areas to improve in our markets and ways we can innovate, I am interested in whether the changes discussed today would fix any existing specific dysfunction. In Field of Dreams, putting faith in if you build it, they will come worked out pretty well in the end for Ray Kinsella. But Ray was making a choice and taking a risk limited to his family and his farm. The SEC is the steward of the U.S. capital markets, and the kind of systemic changes that we are talking about have the potential to affect every market participant from Wall Street to Main Street. Let's ensure that what we're contemplating is appropriately scoped to the portion of the market that participates in crypto, recently estimated to be less than 5% of U.S. households, and not detrimental to TradFi markets on which most Americans depend for their financial well-being. Thank you all for your ongoing engagement with the Commission and your serious discussion of these important issues, and I look forward to the roundtables today. Thank you.
All right. That was Commissioner. You got Ueda and then Pierce. Two more commissioners, fam, and then we'll go to the round tables. Welcome. Drop a like. Let us know in the comments. Chilling and learning.
Good afternoon, and thank you to the panelists and attendees for participating in the Commission's roundtable on tokenization. I appreciate your willingness to engage and share your thoughts with us. Technology has played an important role in the history of financial regulation, and tokenization is no different. These roundtables serve as an opportunity for financial regulators to seek public input on how to address new types of financial products and services. We should not shy away from policymaking about emerging technologies simply because it does not fit into the existing regulatory framework. The first step in sound policymaking is seeking input from market participants. In recent history, we seem to have forgotten a very fundamental concept that investors and issuers have valuable observations and experiences. Given that we are in a full disclosure business, I'm pleased with the Commission's new crypto approach under the leadership of Commissioner Hester Peirce and the Crypto Task Force. Whether the issues relate to bringing real-world assets on-chain or considering custodial issues like we did at our last roundtable, we should promote a transparent regulatory environment. Market participants should not be left guessing as to how they can comply with the Commission's rulebook. These roundtable conversations are a useful step in obtaining this information with a view to constructing a regulatory framework that provides transparency and predictability for market participants that seek to bring assets on-chain. These conversations are particularly important given the development and deployment of new technologies, which have the potential to dramatically change how financial markets operate. In particular, the developments related to the tokenization of real-world assets using blockchain technology implicate major financial market functions and processes like issuance, trading, transfer, settlement, and record of ownership. In addition to these potential market improvements, tokenization presents opportunities to expand the landscape to demonstrate proof of ownership, making possible new types of uses, such as tokens that represent title to real estate or holdings of intellectual property rights. These implications can potentially benefit investors by enhancing liquidity for otherwise relatively illiquid assets, reducing delays associated with intermediation, and also decreasing transactional costs. Additionally, the technology has the potential to simplify, or at least streamline, certain compliance functions, such as through smart contracts for on-chain assets. These potential improvements in capital markets are tied to key characteristics of blockchain technology. Blockchain technology relies on a transparent ledger and does not require a central intermediary. Market transparency impacts transactional costs, but also implicates potential compliance issues, as more opaque and complex markets may increase compliance costs. For example, there are many regulatory questions, challenging ones, that the Commission and its staff may need to resolve under the regime established by Regulation NMS as securities move on-chain. As such, we should evaluate whether these technologies can benefit all market participants. In the mid-1980s, then Commissioner Joseph Grunfest described the rapid pace of technological innovations as, quote, the new technology of finance and the old technology of regulation, unquote. He identified a disconnect between regulatory tools developed in the 1930s with the technological developments of the 1980s, noting that just as the perfect technology has never been invented, the perfect regulation has never been written. As we consider the implications of new technologies, we should design a framework that focuses on critical safeguards rather than trying to address every conceivable investment permutation and scenario. The exercise is nothing new, and the same principles that help regulation move from paper certificates to electronic record keeping and from faxes to texts can certainly guide us to accommodate new technologies. I thank you for your participation and attendance today and look forward to the Commission considering next steps.
Pierce. There she goes.
Good afternoon. Welcome, everyone. We're delighted to have you all here today, and thank you especially to the panelists. We're really looking forward to the discussions, and I'll let you get started here relatively quickly. And I appreciate also Chairman Atkins, Commissioner Ueda, and Commissioner Crenshaw. And Commissioner Crenshaw, thanks for raising some great questions. I hope we'll hear some discussion of those issues at today's on today's panels. And I appreciate especially our moderators, Jeff Dinwiddie and Tiffany Smith, who will be helping us work through some of these difficult issues. Tokenization is rooted in the internet, which revolutionized our lives by enabling the creation of a range of networks. At the base of these networks are software protocols, a set of rules defining how computers and other devices communicate with each other. Protocols built on top of TCP, IP, the protocol that governs the internet, enable applications that facilitate communication and easy access to information. Blockchain and other distributed ledger technology protocols are new internet-based protocols, enabling the creation of new global networks, this time to facilitate the seamless transfer of assets and related data. These protocols commonly rely on cryptography for their operation and security. Novel crypto assets that would not exist but for the underlying protocols live on these networks. So too do traditional assets when they get tokenized. Tokenization fits squarely within the Commission's jurisdiction because it involves formatting traditional assets, like stocks and bonds, as crypto assets or tokens on a crypto network. Much as earlier internet-based protocols dramatically enhanced our lives by making it easier to communicate and to access information, these cryptographic protocols have the potential to improve our lives through enhanced accessibility and efficiency of the markets for traditional financial assets. Your smartphone makes you smarter and more efficient by serving as a portal to the internet and its network of applications. Similarly, tokenizing traditional assets and putting them on crypto networks makes them smarter. Crypto networks are not only a new type of database or ledger for recording ownership of assets, but also a new type of computing platform that can support applications that allow you to do more with your assets. Smart contracts are self-executing software programs that define important properties of assets and applications running on crypto networks and serve as a portal to the networks of applications supported by these new internet-based protocols. A smart contract can define how and when securities may be purchased, sold, and transferred, as well as automate dividend and interest payments or other distributions. Further, because of the common protocols used to program these smart contracts and the related assets and applications, investors can use tokenized securities seamlessly on or within other smart contract-based applications, including DeFi applications. Removing securities from siloed databases and tokenizing them on open, composable crypto networks mobilizes them and makes them usable in new and enhanced ways. Stablecoins, the first application of tokenization to reach scale, demonstrate the efficiency and accessibility improvements that may arise from the use of crypto networks. Tokenization may provide similar benefits to the securities market, such as increased operational efficiency, transactional transparency, liquidity and accessibility, faster settlement, and greater investor opportunity. Several tokenized money market products are registered already under the Investment Company Act of 1940, and tokenized private funds similarly issue securities designed to maintain a stable value and provide yield. Using crypto networks to maintain the record of ownership enables securities to be used as collateral in derivatives transactions rather than requiring investors to redeem securities and then post cash as collateral. Tokenized securities also may serve as a means of settlement in the purchase and sale of other crypto assets, including other tokenized securities and peer-to-peer or other types of on-chain transactions. If these assets live on the same network, near instant and simultaneous settlement is possible. As Commissioner Crenshaw discussed, there are reasons why that might not always be something that we want, but I think it's a potential that we should be thinking about. Tokenization cannot reach its full potential without legal clarity. Issuers and transfer agents continue to be unsure about whether a crypto network can be the master security holder file or a component thereof for purposes of the Exchange Act's transfer agent's rules, and even where state law has expressly provided or contemplated the use of a crypto network in connection with the maintenance of securities ownership records. Further, the Commission's special purpose broker-dealer statement, which defines crypto asset security to encompass any security that relies on cryptographic protocols, has created confusion regarding a broker-dealer's ability to custody tokenized traditional securities, even when issuers and transfer agents retain control and can address erroneous or impermissible transactions. The Commission proposed to amend the Advisors Act custody rule to preclude traditional securities that are issued on a public permissionless crypto network from eligibility for an exception from the qualified custodian requirement. We're working on providing legal clarity on these and other questions in a sensible manner. Absent a compelling reason grounded in fact and law, the Commission should treat tokenized securities the same as traditionally issued securities. Under this approach, for example, the type of database used to record ownership of securities did not affect the substance of the securities issued, nor does the use of a crypto network give rise to a new or different type of security. A crypto network can constitute all or part of an issuer's books maintained by its transfer agent. Tokenized mutual fund shares and tokenized privately issued securities should be eligible for exceptions for such securities from the Advisors Act custody rules. Tokenization may raise some legal challenges related, for example, to the integration with DeFi, application of the transfer agent rules, and NMS requirements, use of permissionless networks, and appropriate classification as certificated versus uncertificated securities. We can work through these and other issues with the expert help of today's panelists and other interested members of the public. Again, I think the job that we're trying to do as a regulator is to build the regulatory framework and see how experiments happen, whether they happen, and how they develop. And so I'm looking forward to discussion of these issues. Jeff, handing it over to you.
Finally. All right. All commissioners are done. All commissioners done.
Well, thank you to
Here comes the panel.
to the Commission, Chairman Atkins and Commissioners Peirce, Crenshaw, and Ueda. We appreciate the opportunity to participate in this roundtable, and a big thanks also to the Crypto Task Force, and more broadly, the agency staff. Just to give folks a sense of the direction of travel of our panel, we're generally going to divide our time into three rough parts. First, some level setting, particularly around some key terms and concepts. Second, discussing both the opportunities and the challenges presented by the existing infrastructure as well as our existing body of law and regulation. And then third, some practical advice for the SEC in terms of moving forward. We have, I'm told, until 3:30, so we have actually a little bit of extra time. And just a bit of housekeeping for our panelists, go ahead and hit your button whenever you're going to talk and the light will come on. A good place to start, just in terms of a spirit of an optimistic future, if each panelist, as a kickoff, will just go straight down the line, give 2 minutes in terms of how your organization is seeing the opportunity set here longer term. And
What if
we'll kick it off
BlackRock
with you.
says we're listing XRP
well, thank
spot?
you. We would like to start off
Crazy.
on behalf of Invesco, thanking the Commission for the opportunity to participate in today's tokenization panel. This is a topic that we think is very important to the future of our business as an issuer and an investor. From the vantage point of a leading global investment manager, we think tokenization can unlock the following benefits. First, we think it can enhance shareholder communication, powered by smart contracts that can improve the efficiency of our proxy and our dividend distributions, making shareholder engagement smarter, faster, and more secure. Second, we think there are operational efficiencies that can be pulled out of this technology in key workflows in our investment management process. They're around transfer agency and our custody business. And third, we think that this can help us de-risk some of the aspects of the market by shortening settlement cycles, not saying T0, but by shortening settlement cycles and improving collateral utility. Our core belief is that we don't have to reinvent the regulatory ontology that serves our market so well. We think there's a strong foundation to build from, and we are encouraged by Commissioner Peirce's comments on May 8th, talking to the opportunity to work within a regulatory sandbox and safe harbor that we think will encourage innovation and draw in pilot programs that we're interested in being a part of. So once again, thank you.
Thank you to the Commission and to the Commissioners for sponsoring this roundtable today. I am representing the Digital Asset Management Unit within Fidelity. Fidelity has long been both a investor as well as a technology research and development arm in this space, looking at blockchains and crypto assets from the standpoint of how we may be able to improve the financial solutions that we develop and offer to our investors to help them manage their financial lives. As we think about how this technology can change the way in which we both develop investment products, but also how it is that we may be able to distribute these products, there are a number of ways in which we see opportunities for being able to produce enhanced financial solutions. First, as we see that moving assets on-chain, there are potential new utilities that we would be able to see traditional assets being able to access that today they're not able to access, such as the ability to move and transfer these assets outside of traditional brokerage hours. You have the ability to transfer these assets in a global capital market across both 24/7 as well as 365-day transfers. This allows for more efficient management of capital balance sheets, and from an investor standpoint, the flow of capital becomes much more efficient. As we think about the opportunity to develop new investment structures through which we may be able to pool investor capital to be able to allocate more efficiently, we also are very encouraged by opportunities to bring assets that are traditionally not easily tradable on-chain to make them more tradable across investment products and solutions that we can develop, which then increases diversification and access for investors across a multitude of assets that they would gain access to. So we look forward to continuing to be able to produce and work with this technology and developing new investment products.
Good afternoon. Thank you again, Commission, for having this panel, and look forward to an engaging discussion here. Calling back to Chairman Atkins' call, I think we're description of where we're at right now. I think moving from cassette to MP3s. I really think where we're at in this inflection point of tokenization is moving from Napster to the Apple iStore, and really can start hitting the beat and have some good music here. So not to beat a dead analogy, but at Superstate, we're seeking to upgrade the capital markets through leveraging tokenization and through care and creativity, helping evolve what we consider the national market system. So, like, what does this mean? Presently, a vast majority of securities are held in a centralized database that are controlled by a myriad of intermediaries, and that's proven scalable and resilient, but it's also limiting, dated, and creates a central point of failure. At Superstate, we're looking to serve issuers directly as a transfer agent to enable them to facilitate tokenized equities. And through tokenized equities, you're able to have registered ownership, and that enables, as others have alluded to, peer-to-peer transfers, improved collateral treatment, engagement in lending, DeFi, exchange capabilities, and then holding new opportunities and use cases for investments, given the fact that these securities are now programmable. It's not just utility, though. It's also improved investor protections and compliance capabilities. And so, as a transfer agent, we're able to ensure that the limited opportunity applications that these securities will engage with in DeFi are both resilient and perform as they intend and say they will. Additionally, only eligible investors are able to engage with the securities. Further, as has been alluded to, there will be advancements and more efficiencies in settlement and clearance. And finally, moving corporate governance on-chain will simplify and provide more transparency, so there will no longer be overvoting or undervoting or disputes in who is voting, given the on-chain attributes. Where we see this as being extremely elegant is it does not disrupt the current market structure. It's additive, and it's a choice. If issuers and investors seek and want to engage on-chain, they should have that option, and the technology exists for them to engage. So by engaging with this functionality, we believe capital markets will be able to advance past the ossification of the 1970s market structure and move forward in a less intermediated, more choice-driven, and more competitive environment. We believe this is consistent with how the Commission has previously engaged and leaned into technological advancements, and is also consistent with how America has continued to innovate and be at the forefront. So look forward to an engaging discussion, and thank you for the forum.
Give me BlackRock.
Thank you. My name is Una Choi, and I'm from NASDAQ. And I want to echo everybody's thanks to Commissioner Peirce and the Crypto Task Force for talking about this innovation in the context of evolution of the capital markets. And NASDAQ in particular is a reflection of the evolution that has undergone in the financial markets, starting with trading paper certificates to trading electronically to trading wirelessly and now being on the cloud. And within the crypto world, we've been involved in providing ETPs with respect to crypto-based instruments going back to 2015 for the past 10 years through our Stockholm exchange, followed quickly by Ether. And we work closely with both US and European issuers to think about crypto-based exchange products, IBIT being one of them, and with different sort of crypto offerings that could come into the market. And we have been very active in terms of thinking about that in the context also with corporate issuers as well, trying to think creatively about how capital structure can be affected by digital assets and blockchain technology in particular. Within our fintech world, we provide matching engine and data services to crypto platforms across 6 continents, also provide trading and market surveillance capabilities and technology solutions, sometimes using Gen AI to different participants in the digital assets ecosystem. So beyond just sort of the organizational focus, we are very excited about this new technology, both in terms of tokenization of securities, but also in terms of how this can ease the congestion within the system, whether it's collateral management or some of the other aspects that people have talked about already, and also in terms of modernizing proxy plumbing and processes generally. So I look forward to doing a deeper dive with other panelists today.
Good afternoon. My name is Christian Sabella, and since I work at DTCC, I'm really excited to be in a room where people are using the words like settlement cycle and netting and post-trade settlement. So thank you very much to the Commission, the task force staff, and the backbone SEC staff for organizing this sort of event. From where we sit, we do see a mix of evolutionary and revolutionary dynamics going on here. And that may seem a bit odd given we are sort of the previously referred to kind of incumbent that's sort of there. But one of the things that this has done for us is make our central securities depository business at DTC very interesting and exciting. Not that it never was, but I think more people are appreciating that now. And it's a welcome relief from constantly talking about central counterparties in other contexts. But we've been, I think, working with this new technology for some time now. Folks who have been following us in this space would have seen us doing projects in the past, like Project Ion, working with basically ledger technologies to see how they do in terms of scaling and really dealing with the increments, intervals, and frankly, just the overall heft that goes into supporting the premier financial market system in the world on the post-trade settlement side. We've learned a lot from that. We did some strategic acquisitions, and we now have a full-fledged digital asset service, which, again, if you keep track on the socials or otherwise, you would have seen us do a collateral mobility experiment just last month that basically started to showcase the tokenization abilities and potential that we have been developing in-house and are looking to basically explore with market participants as a, again, central industry-owned service provider to basically try to build that forward. When we think about opportunities that tokenization potentially brings to the table here, I'm going to hit on 4 areas that have been referred to before, but I think are worth noting again. So the first is settlement cycles, and I think Alex put it well, we're talking about choice for people. Our folks, right now, the standard settlement cycle is T+1, but folks may have different reasons to want a different settlement cycle, i.e. a faster settlement cycle. Is it T0? There are good reasons that were provided in some remarks for why T0 may work for you, T0 may not work for you. From the company's perspective, when we moved to T1, gosh, it feels like a long time ago, but I guess it was just a couple of years ago. The position of the company was, all right, we're at T1 for everyone now, and we'd like to facilitate whatever settlement cycles people want to look at. When we look at the ability of atomic settlement on chains, the ability of smart contracts to basically allow for programmable assets being able to basically do more with your stuff, we see great potential here when it comes to settlement cycles. We also, I appreciate the shout out on 24/5/7 trading. That's, I think, a policy discussion that has kind of happened in, I'll call like the mainstay, but it really merges with discussion of tokenization and digital assets, and I think the Commission would be well served thinking about 24/5/7 trading in the context of both asset classes. The other areas we think about are asset servicing and asset collateral optimization. So as I mentioned, we did showcase some of our potential growing abilities through the last month's collateral experiment, but also corporate actions, all the events where there are multiple intermediaries, manual processes. This technology offers great potential to basically lean out those requirements and basically move things forward. And finally, I think I would want to hit on eligibility. Currently, not all securities are eligible for central clearing. There may be good reasons why you don't want it to be, but I think the technology, the transparency it offers works very well. The wrapper that I think matters for all of this is interoperability. So folks have hit on this before, and I think one of the things I'd be interested in seeing this panel discuss and the Commission consider further is how interoperability is going to work here, because while you may have multiple technologies, multiple tokenization platforms, to achieve some of, I think, the potential benefits that the technology offers, you need some degree of consensus standard setting and agreement. So if everything's on one chain or multiple chains, how is that all going to work? I look forward to discussing that topic and others today.
Thank you very much. I'm Sandy Call. I'm here to speak on behalf of our digital asset unit at Franklin Templeton. Thank you to the chairman and to the commissioners for the wonderful support that they have given us over many years in our digital asset journey. And we're very excited to be here today at this moment in time when we are finally taking a common sense approach to thinking about the rules that can govern our future financial ecosystem. One of the things we would like to encourage everyone in this task force and thinking about regulation to consider is that we often get caught thinking about consumer protection and sometimes forget that we have an equal responsibility to ensure consumer opportunity. Right, and I think that when you look at what has been happening in our computer age with the key technologies that are shaping this age, computing, cryptography, networks, and communication, these technologies have been evolving since the 1960s. We have to remember the foundation, the system that many people are looking to defend today was created because we lost the ability to keep up with trading one transaction at a time, right? This was the way that we operated in the markets for well over 100 years until the volumes started reaching a point where we could no longer keep up with them, and then we started to create this whole system of netting and book order entry and beneficial ownership accounts. And it worked very well for us, and we used the most modern emerging technology at the time to design it. Today, we have much better technologies that are the ultimate revision and growth of those four foundational technologies. And those technologies are putting us back into a position where we have an opportunity to think about having a system that can go back to trading one transaction at a time, because we now have the volume. We have technologies able to support the volume and the velocity and impose the controls that would be required to do this in a safe way. And so I think that this is an important point to keep in mind, right? The technology itself is enabling us to rethink what is the common sense approach, right? And the common sense approach says that every investor should be able to have as much control over their own assets as possible. Today's account-based system makes this extremely difficult for individual investors. It makes it extremely difficult for high net worth investors and mass affluent investors. Just think about how hard it is sometimes to fund a brokerage account, and how many days that can often take, right? So there's opportunities here to think about what the technology can do better. We believe at Franklin Templeton that today's system is overly complicated. It's riddled with toll takers that add costs to transactions that get passed on to the consumers, and that there is an opportunity to create a better system for those we are charged to protect. We at Franklin Templeton started our journey into blockchain in 2019. We tokenized our money market fund in 2022 and began to run our books and records from our transfer agent, our transaction books and records, on public blockchain. We now have deployed our system across 9 different blockchains, and we operate our wallet-based transfer agent system across all of those blockchains every single day. We've been doing so nonstop since 2022, and we have not had a single issue with the way that our system is operating. We are able to provide more accurate calculations to our clients. We are able to provide more efficient reporting. We have lower costs on our funds from being able to eliminate intermediaries. We have more opportunities to expand the classes of assets that we're able to bring into the asset class and diversification pool by being able to take investments that today are investable but difficult to trade and put them into a tokenization wrapper that will allow them to become part of everyday investor portfolios. The chairman and one of the commissioners mentioned even IP, right, and other types of rights that can become things that people use in their own portfolios, their own home equity. We are really at a unique moment in time where we can create the opportunity because the technology is now there to allow us to. we look forward to working with the Commission, and we look forward to working with our peers to really help move us towards that new world.
I'm Johnny Reinsch. I'm the Executive Director of the Tokenized Asset Coalition. The Tokenized Asset Coalition is a member-funded nonprofit that consists of 60 or so members coming from all the leading protocols in the space, issuers, from every asset, from stablecoins all the way to things more esoteric like IP rights. Just want to say thanks to the Commission for hosting us here, and it's very encouraging to hear the words that we heard earlier from the various commissioners with the balance that they espoused in those words. So excitement, and hearing Commissioner Peirce say words like composability and interoperability, while the balance from the tone that Commissioner Crenshaw struck. I've been in the space since 2013, and if you told me that I'd be sitting on this panel today back then, I probably would have bought more. But just a moment of reflection for how far we've come, and it's a really, really exciting time. The reason why I was drawn to the space, and one thing I should say is views are my own, not the members. So if I go off piece, they can disclaim. But I started in 2013 when it was mostly just Bitcoin and a few others. And when Ethereum launched and the various technology around programmability started to be built, I started building in the space directly within tokenization. And I was drawn to it from the attributes of programmability, efficiency, transparency, and accessibility, fractionalization, allowing for lower minimums for people to get access to stuff. And a paradox kind of exists today in the market where the lowest risk assets, tokenized assets, stablecoins, and the most speculative assets are the only things that have access to DeFi in any meaningful way. And so there's an entire gap that I would love to see filled with thoughtful application, balanced application of regulation. I say that also with the recognition of having been in this space for over a decade and seeing us shoot ourselves in the foot multiple times and take too much risk on. And if you've been in crypto for as long as I have, a year in crypto is sort of like 10 years in a market, in a regular market. And I would like to see that balance come through in whatever we adopt. So one of my goals as the executive director of the Tokenized Asset Coalition is to provide some balance for our members that are, we all get very bullish. So the other thing that I would say is top of mind for me in my position at the TAC is global interoperability. Commissioner Peirce mentioned this in her remarks last week, but there's definitely this looming kind of silo or set of silos that could exist. And I think with various regulators adopting regulations across stablecoins and various other assets, I think the SEC is particularly in a great position to take a leadership role on how to regulate securities that are tokenized. And hopefully that can bring about some conversations with regulators globally about how to make this stuff interoperable. Looking forward to participating on this panel, and yeah, very excited to be here.
Hi, I'm Christine Moy from Apollo. Thank you for the Commission for inviting us and encouraging this discussion. We think the case for tokenization is rooted in its ability to fundamentally modernize how assets are created, distributed, and managed. We think tokenization brings automation and programmability to traditionally manual processes, streamlines operations and reduces costs across the investment lifecycle, and enables automated compliance. More significantly, it enables multi-asset interoperability, allowing different types of assets from private markets to public equities and fixed income to be represented, exchanged, and utilized together on a common infrastructure. So we think this unlocks new efficiencies and opportunities for both issuers and investors. At the same time, tokenization accelerates product innovation, giving institutions the flexibility to design and offer investment products that are more accessible and customizable, with the potential to broaden access to the diversification and investment benefits of private markets. So we see tokenization as just the next evolution of capital markets, merging the strength of the U.S. markets and our financial system with the programmability, composability, interoperability, and global reach of this digital technology. And I look forward to engaging with you all on this discussion.
My name is Robbie Mitchnick. I'm the head of digital assets at BlackRock, and I want to thank the Commission for hosting this event today, and also to acknowledge the staff with whom we've appreciated the engagement and earnest work over the last many months, and in many cases, years on this topic. And also, I hope that you'll accept my apology for my contribution to ruining Christmas of 2023 and New Year's of 2024 in the frenetic run-up to the Bitcoin ETP launches that next week. Our purpose at BlackRock is to help more people invest better, including democratizing access to investing by enabling more people to have access to investment opportunities in an efficient way. And we have a strong belief that tokenization and digital assets have a potentially very important role to play in that. Given I'm last on this opening, I won't repeat some of the many thoughtful and incisive points that my fellow panelists have made here, but rather I'll focus just on one specific tangible example to illustrate the potential of this technology. And that is in the context of the tokenized stable value yield fund that we issued as a firm in March of 2024 in concert with Securitize, who serves as our tokenization agent in that space. We think tokenization agent is a more suitable term here than transfer agent in this context. And what a stable value yield fund issued natively on a blockchain enables is the breaking of a long-standing trade-off that investors were forced to make between liquidity in terms of a cash asset that could be used in real time for settlement or payments, and access to full yield. In this case, we have seen the enablement of full U.S. Treasury yield through the tokenized yield fund, but through the properties of digital assets that make it possible to convert instantaneously into and out of stablecoins, which function as digital cash, that in effect the investor no longer makes that trade-off between yield and liquidity and has the real-time efficiency of both. Today, that's accessible just to institutional investors, but we are optimistic that in time that will become accessible to investors of all sizes and types, and also eventually that the benefits of tokenization, which many panelists have spoken to already, can be extended to additional asset classes as well. So we're very much looking forward to the discussion today.
Well, thanks for that.
Oh, that was all.
Commissioner Crenshaw, you'll recall, and she raised a number of thoughtful questions. One of them is actually a great place to continue our discussion in terms of level set. She asked, what does tokenization mean? And so let's go through some of those basics. Alex, we'll start with you, and Johnny, maybe build on that, and we'll take it from there.
Maybe I'll just start here. I think the way and Commissioner Crenshaw laid out that there might be a myriad of definitions, but the way I'm looking at the tokenization, and welcome for feedback, is it really is just an evolution of dematerialization. So it allows for registered ownership and programmability, but it really is you owning the security. And so that is what tokenization is. And then it's powered by blockchains, right? And so blockchains are really just a virtual machine. And then in addition, there's this overlay of smart contracts, which can create additional functionality, which is that programmability, which is the buzzword that many have spoken about. And so I really think, and Commissioner Peirce alluded to, the smartphone makes you smarter. A new file format for your securities enables new functionality like better collateral or actual utility in owning your assets and securities. So that's really what I think of when I say tokenization. It's just a new file format. And then maybe just to like fill out the picture, you know, we started with certificated securities. That was the file format that was used and appreciated for a period of time. Those, as was alluded to, were kind of became less in vogue when there was additional optionality and the crisis of the paperwork crisis of the 1970s. And what happened was a great migration from certificates to immobilized securities. We think, and has been likely will play out, is tokenization is the new file format, which again allows for more programmability rather than just sitting on a centralized database. You can attach additional functionality and uses like compliance features and or you know, payment of dividends or corporate actions and the like.
Yeah, just to build on that, I can offer a framework that's potentially helpful. And we published this about 1.5 years ago called the Spectrum of Asset Tokenization. And if you think about the basic attributes of an asset that lives in the real world, you want to be able to prove that you own the asset, enforce legal rights, track the ledger of transfers. We do that traditionally on paper. In my prior existence as a lawyer, I did that a lot on paper. But then with tokenization, you move from that paradigm, and the first step is just a representation of all that off-chain activity on-chain. So you have a token and you have everything else that lives off-chain, living side by side. And then the spectrum goes up to fully enforceable on-chain native issuance with all legal enforcement on-chain as well. And that would be like a decentralized finance protocol, like a lending protocol, for instance. And then you can have flavors in between as well. So I agree with everything Alex said, and I think each asset might have a different flavor of tokenization to take into consideration. For instance, an intangible right could be easily natively issued, have all legal rights kind of attached to the contract itself, whereas physical gold can never be natively digitally issued. Only the token can be, but the gold will always have to live in the real world. So maybe that's helpful.
Thanks. And Christian, as we're thinking broadly in terms of basic level setting, prefatory points, anything else worth adding from your end?
Yeah, so I think we've had a helpful start to the discussion. One other way I think, or another analytical framework that's helpful is, particularly when we are talking about so-called real-world assets, which for many years have just been electronically represented. So we're moving sort of from electronic to digital here. Various litmus tests that basically tell you, to the points that Johnny and Alex raised, that you, at the end of the day, do have a legally enforceable ownership property right in the tokenized security. So, you know, this is, I think, important in terms of thinking about if we tokenize an asset, what is the treatment of that asset? And for us at DTCC, this is always sort of like the question lurking in the background in a distressed market or a default scenario. In other words, if you do have a tokenized representation of an asset, is it going to walk and talk and swim and quack exactly like a security interest that you might have with an electronic or an immobilized asset today? Or if you were to basically have an actual paper certificate or an otherwise transferable physical representation of the asset. So I think that's important to keep in mind. The other thing, which I'll defer to my colleagues who are more, I think, focused on the trading side, but in terms of issues around if the asset's tokenized, how does that asset act and trade or otherwise get utilized relative to the prior or the ongoing parallel existing asset? These are issues I think the Commission has thought about in other contexts in terms of dual share listings. Folks have alluded to the potential NMS considerations, an economically equivalent tokenized asset trading alongside a so-called traditional one. What does that do for capital formation and so forth? These, I think, are the more in the weeds questions that can be useful in really teasing out, if you say you have a tokenized asset, is it really a tokenized asset or is it a derivative of the asset in tokenized format?
And just really quickly on that note, it does get really complicated when you try and keep both sets of records, so the on-chain book and the off-chain book. And I built a company, my last company in the space, specifically within private credit, and it was always trying to get to a digitally native issuance of something so that it was less of a less chance for failure, basically, when one ledger doesn't match the other one.
Una, Christine, anything you want to add?
Sure. I think it all starts with taxonomy. We view it as sort of the foundational underpinning in terms of how digital assets and tokenization can be integrated into the existing system. And when you think about the investor choice, investor best interests, and investor protections as our North Star, and and start with that, having a clear and predictable taxonomy will help us to understand how best to adjust the rules and regulations to make sure that the new innovation fits into the space. And we've been able to do that in the past with different, not just with innovations in technology, but also innovations in products and processes as well. So, we've submitted a letter on taxonomy and other questions that were raised in Commissioner Peirce's February statement, and we have certain categorizations of it. But for today's discussion, I think it's important to think about financial security and whether distinctive sort of characteristics should be laid out from within the financial securities category. And to paraphrase Commissioner Peirce's statement is in that, digital representation of a security or issuing a stock on a digital ledger does not change the substance of that security. And I think that's a very important basic premise to start with, because then we can figure out what the rules of the road are with respect to how we then fit that into the existing rules and regulations, and also think about how to calibrate and adjust and update the rules based on that distinction. And then going down even further, I think there is a distinctive sort of characteristics with respect to private securities and public securities in particular. To point out the obvious, obviously there are disclosure requirement differences with respect to private and company issuers, but also there are different rights, privileges, and obligations of the shareholders as well. And over time, of course, there's been additional mechanisms and listing standards and other things that have been built, all to serve the investors in terms of providing reliable access, best price, best kind of environment for them to trade in. So, we should think about that in that context, and we should think about it in terms of, different mechanisms that have developed over time, whether it be trading and market real-time surveillance, whether it is notification with respect to corporate actions, not just because speed is lacking, but just so that there is orderly dissemination of material news to the public markets. There are things to think about in terms of trade halt mechanisms, both for volatility and for regulatory considerations as well. And then there's, of course, adjudication and reasons why certain trades are broken due to errors and other issues. So when you sort of think about that in the context of facilitating capital formation with clear rules of the road for issuers, investors, and market participants, then we can start out with a very clear, predictable taxonomy, and then expand our discussions from then on.
And just to build upon my fellow panelists' comments, I think the main thing for us to note in this discussion is that tokenized securities should not be confused with bare digital assets. I think we take that for granted, but worth noting, because tokenized securities we think of as permissioned compliant assets with embedded smart contracts to enforce transfer restrictions, legal constraints, and regulatory rules like AML, KYC, investor status, jurisdiction, et cetera. Despite being permissioned and compliant assets, we think about them in the context of operating on secure and sound permissionless public blockchain infrastructure. A lot of lingo there, so certainly taxonomy is very important. But the main concept is, having compliant securities on public infrastructure with the right controls codified in. And then, building further on, kind of interoperability, I think the really interesting thing that we don't spend enough time thinking about is that, we really have an opportunity, to Sandy's point, to think about how we, kind of enable the best investments for the most people, as Robbie stated in his mission. The idea that tokenization, regardless of where it comes from, regardless of if you're a native tokenization or if you're, an asset in custody that's being tokenized or everything in between, is that you're actually ending up, what you're actually doing is bringing all of these different assets together, as I mentioned, from private markets to public equities and fixed income, onto the same operating system, and enabling programmability and composability across those, which then enables us to build comprehensive, holistic portfolios that can be customized to a broader range of investors for their desires, right? So, it's important to understand the mechanics of how we tokenize and the different nuances of the different ways we tokenize, but the net output is that we can have more assets together on the same operating system to build better investment products for the future.
Well, thanks. And just to pause for a second, taxonomy, other introductory points around the mechanics, et cetera, just pausing to see if anybody has any other points they want to make or react to anything anybody said.
Just maybe raise a question on, because we use the term interoperable a lot. I think it has a number of meanings. When I use the word interoperable, I mean tokenized securities interoperable with their book entry version that's held, in the TradFi sense. But I think there's another layer of interoperability where we're talking about, there's a myriad of blockchains, Solana, Ethereum, et cetera, and interoperability between those. I think it probably means all of the
Ethereum,
above,
Solana.
but I think both of those are important to be mindful of when we're thinking of and discussing interoperable. But I don't know if there's other points there.
Just want to add back the regulatory interoperability is important too. Because even if you can technically move across chains, doesn't mean you can actually do anything with it on the other chain.
Sandy, we'll turn to you in a second. Regulatory operability, anyone want to chime in? Any other thoughts on that specific point? Christian?
Yeah, so there's different layers there, I think. One layer that I think everyone's very sensitized to, and I know this organization and related organizations are working on, is just across the diversified regulatory framework we have in the United States between securities products, non-securities products, capital market activity, prudential activity. The other layers, though, I think are a bit more nuanced. It goes back, I think, again, to this question of whatever taxonomy you come up with, you need to make sure that that taxonomy, I think, takes into account and respects other legal regimes that interact with our markets. So take collateral, for example. If we want to unlock the potential for tokenized assets to serve as a collateral optimizing force, we have to make sure that the underlying, and in this case, it's usually state commercial law regimes, the Uniform Commercial Code comes up, and we can have a discussion about Article 8 and Article 12 if folks want, but generally you need to make sure that's compatible. I kind of take the point from what Johnny's saying. You can move it from one chain to the other, but if I can't perfect my security interest in the tokenized collateral on the other chain, it's not really going to do very much for me. So I think those are factors to keep in mind as you're coming up with the taxonomy to make sure they speak to that broader ecosystem. The existing framework has done that very well up to this point, so I'm not, I think, suggesting a new problem or even a problem per se. It's just a consideration that I think will take the potential very far forward.
Sandy?
Yeah, I mean, sometimes these conversations, even for me who understands everything everyone's saying up here, get a little complicated. So I just wanted to go back to the absolute basics of it. A token is a wrapper, as someone said here. It's a new file format. But what is unique is that you can embed the contract that governs the regulation and governs the use and governs the transferability and governs the legal protections of that asset right in the asset. And the ledger that you record the transaction on can read and administer all of those terms that are in the contract that is embedded into the asset. And so if you think about today, there are hundreds of contracts that people need to have in place to be able to trade securities. And those contracts have to be reconciled back to the asset itself. And there are dozens and dozens and dozens of teams in every organization whose entire job is to reconcile back and forth between these contracts that govern the use and all those other aspects of the asset that I discussed and the asset. And the big innovation here, the big opportunity here is that we can now embed those contracts into those assets, and we can use the power of these calculation utilities to make sure that these assets can be properly administered without as many manual interventions and without as many problems that can potentially come from all of the problems that come with people trying to do things and move between documents and other systems. And so it really is a huge enhancement beyond just being a new wrapper, right? It really is a way to make the system work more automatically and more effectively.
Robbie, let's go to you and let's transition now thinking about the concrete opportunities, what's working well, where are there gaps, both in terms of thinking about the infrastructure and the legal and regulatory regime. Talk to us in terms of what you're seeing at BlackRock in terms of the existing infrastructure out there and opportunities, challenges, et cetera.
Sure, Jeff. Well, certainly there are many parts of our existing market infrastructure that work quite well today, right? And I think that in some respects, some of the slow-ish progress that has been made in terms of tokenization adoption to date, while some of it may be related to regulatory clarity that is now trying to be addressed, some of it is a function of the fact that if the existing market infrastructure works pretty well, there's a high hurdle to migrating to a new technology standard, even if there's a recognition that that new technology standard is an improvement over the existing paradigm. But there are certainly areas where we believe there have been significant step change improvements enabled by tokenization that give strong conviction in the merits of making that migration. And one such example where we're seeing early benefits realized, but there's potential to do so at a much greater scale, is in the context of collateral, where tokenization makes it possible to pledge, to rehypothecate, to have transparency into, to liquidate in near real time various forms of collateral instruments. And if you take one example today where the existing infrastructure and regulatory regime is not really in a position to support this, it's in the usage, for example, of money market funds as collateral, where the existing paradigm makes that difficult to do at scale. But when you think about tokenization, we have the opportunity to migrate from a world where to actually post a money market fund as collateral, you first have to liquidate it, deliver cash, and then instruct reinvestment into a money market fund, which is obviously a very inefficient and friction-filled system, which can also add sell pressure in times of market stress into the underlying funds and their underlying collateral. And now, with this new technology paradigm, there's an opportunity to do this through a direct, nearly real-time pledge that's transparent and enables instant liquidity on a secondary basis into, for example, stablecoins as digital cash instruments. And that has wide-reaching potential implications across many areas where collateral is a critical part of our financial infrastructure, including derivatives, repo, and securities lending.
Sandy, over to you.
If I could add to what Robbie said, because I 100% agree with the points that he made. Take it even one step further, right? If we tokenize the underlying securities that sit in the government money market fund, and we come up against another 2008 type event where there is uncertainty about who is going to be able to access that underlying collateral. I mean, don't forget, this tied up some of the lawsuits around Lehman Brothers for 2 or 3 years to be able to figure out who owned the underlying collateral. If we could immediately move from the tokenized money market fund and into the tokenized assets that sit within that fund, we can immediately get the collateral and begin to unwind all of the obligations in the marketplace, right? So this is another improvement where, having these off-chain assets and these contracts that govern it constantly make us go back in periods of stress and try and figure out how can we accelerate the return of collateral, how can we accelerate the unwinding of positions. And tokenization can give us far superior answers to those problems, and ones that move at the speed of the market so that there would be less stress in the market, because you can have immediate dissolution of a fund and immediate distribution of its underlying assets, right? So these are points that often get overlooked in why today's systems don't work very well. And this is someplace I think that we would see massive enhancements if we were to move in this direction on a broader basis.
Johnny?
Yeah, I just want to add, there's a really great example of what Sandy just mentioned at work during one of the biggest crypto market shocks of the entire time I've been in crypto. Terra Luna was a synthetic stablecoin that crashed, and I'll make no judgment about how it was built, but in decentralized finance, which housed a bunch of loan transactions by smart contract, collateral was sold and liquidated, and lenders were repaid pursuant to the terms of the smart contract, even though there was a massive amount of volume that hit the system at that time. Everybody got repaid, and everything worked the way that it was supposed to. So we've seen time and time again that what Sandy is describing works really well and in real time.
Yep, so I think we all kind of share the goal of fungibility, interoperability as a achievement that we want to have with respect to tokenization. And I think what's also important to remember is that that probably is going to require a methodical peeling of the onion in terms of how we get there, because we all want to try to get to that place. So, when you think about sort of what we have now, there are aspects of the system that are resilient and robust and really provides a great opportunity for investors to make decisions, even when there is unexpected news like we had on April 7th, in terms of being able to make financial decisions in a very quick way. So I think the big question mark is, how can we preserve the benefits of those mechanics and market characteristics, and then apply it and integrate this new technology into the system in a seamless way for wider adoption. And when you think about it from a sort of a legal framework, of course, we have the state laws, both in terms of the corporate statutes and commercial statutes. And I think while some of the jurisdictions like Delaware and Texas have adopted blockchain technology as part of their and allows corporations to adopt that technology for stock ledgers and corporate records, there's still probably room in terms of additional work to be done in terms of making sure that that is available to the corporations. And then when you're looking at the securities laws, separate and apart from just offering registrations under the 33 Act, there's a bit of work to be done with respect to the 34 Act in terms of the registration of a security under the Exchange Act and what that means and what the thresholds and triggers and the privileges and the obligations of being a 34 Act security really means, not just for the issuers, but also for the investors as well. And then, there are sort of ancillary, but just as important things to think through in terms of how that also interplays with regulatory regime under NESMIA and cover securities and the blue sky laws. And that's just the tip of the iceberg. And so I think we have a little bit of work to do with the staff at the SEC, and I think we're all ready to roll up our sleeves and think through those matters. But I do want to end with an opportunity to just build on what Robbie said about collateral management. I think there's a real opportunity here to ease congestion with respect to proxy plumbing and processes. When you think about tokenization or DLT technology in particular, there may be ways to track security ownership in a way to get rid of the 20 business day broker search rule, which already seems a bit obsolete given the T+1.
He talks a lot, I feel. I don't know about you guys,
Dispensation
but
that is being
oh
given to
boy.
special meetings. There may also be a way to address the gap between issuers and objecting beneficial owners without giving up on the privacy rights of the holders, and also addressing broker-dealer considerations as well. And then, of course, there are real opportunities for dissemination of information, proxy materials to the investors in a quicker way, cheaper way, as well as thinking about how blockchain technology can be used to tabulate votes, audit them, and have real-time information. So I think those are really interesting and exciting ways to think about tokenization and DLT in particular.
Alex? I just want to touch upon, collateral and proxies are fantastic use cases. I also would be remiss not to highlight that the technology also can enable, fantastic lending of your actual securities, and then additionally, exchange that can happen in a much more economic way. So, lending right now, you're subject to your broker, and that's the only person you can really utilize for a borrowing venue. But within crypto that exists right now, the founder of Superstates, Robert Leshner, he created Compound, which is one of the first DeFi lending protocols and has done billions and billions of dollars of lending, but has only utilized crypto assets. To the extent that more real-world assets and securities move on-chain, those types of primitives can and should exist. Similarly, market makers have been printing money by creating price improvement, and maybe we can touch upon Reg NMS later on. But at the end of the day, a system of trade doesn't, and maybe we take a step back. 1975 amendments, they didn't envision one central limit order book as a national market system, right? They envisioned a subsystem and various other integrated systems that work together as being a national market system. If they had envisioned one central limit order book, we wouldn't have a myriad of exchanges, and we wouldn't have the advancements of the early 2000s into the ATS world, and we wouldn't have where we're sitting right now, where there's the ability for decentralized exchanges to allow for peer-to-peer interaction and the ability for you actually to directly earn some return from providing liquidity. And so I think obviously low-hanging fruit is collateral. Low-hanging fruit is peer-to-peer in a direct manner. But additionally, enhanced through a protocol, there's an ability to do a lot more in different things. And so I think that is, we would be remiss if we don't touch upon that in the benefits of tokenization.
Cynthia?
So you actually said something that really strikes me as an important point. We talk a lot about the technology, but you just talked about financial primitives. And so, a point that we talk a lot about is finance is still finance. At the end of all of the conversations around the technicalities of the things that this technology can do, and what this technology and moving assets on-chain to be able to be loaned or used as collateral in a pool that it enables a wider range of access to capital. So this is really, at the end of the day, about facilitating more efficient capital flows by creating these new structures that will, create more direct access for individuals to use their assets in ways that today are limited by the intermediaries, with which they are, currently engaged. And that, we think of as tremendously an improvement.
All right.
For access to investments and capital.
No, Sandy?
What?
I just wanted to also bring out one other, I think, very.
All right. that was interesting. Guys, 2 hours live plus. That's a nice one for one more crypto task force here live at the SEC in Washington. XRP started pretty nice, closing in the 260s. And now we're looking at the 250s. BTC at 101, pretty cool. Guys, we did it in a way that we welcome a lot of the XRP army and anybody, interested in crypto. The idea is always, to learn what they have to say. A bunch of asset under management representatives right here, BlackRock, Fidelity, Invesco, DTCC, and more. And as you can tell, it takes a while. You have to really listen and go through it. You're going to be more than welcome to watch the replay on X, wherever you want, right? There's a long more to go, but I'm not going to be here for the entirety. Entirely, of course. I want to say thank you guys for stopping by to the channel. Probably not the best price reaction to to this event, but it's okay. That's fine. Over the last 24 to 48 hours, the price of the price of crypto was really high compared to where we were, just back on Friday. So it makes sense that people are taking profits. I like that. And I hope you guys made some money while trading. You want to trade? Link down below. Sign up. You got all the links. You know how to do it. If you do not, you just start by clicking and take it one step at a time. Thank you to all the donors, to all my new members, my subscribers, the viewers, my moderators. Appreciate you guys a lot. That was nice. They're going to continue.
Very important use case that we are.
And they continue and continue and continue, which is fine, right? That's what they are for. But honestly, guys, for me, I'm going to relax because it's been a long day so far. And one last thing. One last thing. I was also looking at this.
A friend of mine who's I'll tell you a story. A friend of mine who's a businessman, very, very, very top guy. Most of you would have heard of him. A highly neurotic, brilliant businessman, seriously overweight, and he takes the fat shot drug. And he called me up, and he said, President, he calls me, he used to call me Donald, now he calls me President, so that's nice respect. But he's a rough guy, smart guy, very successful, very rich. I wouldn't even know how we would know this, but because he's got comments. President, could I ask you a question? What? I'm in London, and I just paid for this damn fat drug I take. I said, it's not working. He said, I just paid $88. And in New York, I pay $1,300. What the hell is going on? I'll tell you a story. A friend of mine.
Yeah, this happened earlier today. He talked about many things, including China trade deals and more. It's fun, man. It's the classic Donald Trump, fam. I want to thank you guys for stopping by. You take care. I'll see you soon later today. And let's enjoy. It's Monday, a brand new week. And the price of XRP and the price of crypto right now, $249. So bears right now are kind of like waking up a little bit. We'll see what happens. Love y'all. You take care. Closing the poll right now. See what happened here. 6.5K votes. May. Let's get $3 in May. I'm totally for it. Let's make some money. Peace. Take care, everybody. Thanks so much. Have a good one.